You have been calling yourself an introvert for years. But here is the part most people never find out. There is not one type of introvert. There are 4. And each one is hiding something completely different. Not hiding it on purpose. Not hiding it to deceive anyone. Hiding it because no one ever gave them the right words to explain it. The social introvert and the anxious introvert look almost identical from the outside. Both go quiet at parties. Both leave early. Both prefer staying home. But one of them is protecting their energy. And the other one is terrified. That difference changes everything. About how you see yourself, about how you see the people around you, and about why 2 people, both calling themselves introverts, can behave completely differently in the exact same room. Psychologists have now identified 4 distinct introvert types, each with its own internal logic, its own strengths, and its own specific thing it is hiding. By the end of this video, you will know which one you are. And more importantly, you will understand why you operate the way you do. Let us get into it.
Type 1. The social introvert. This is the most misunderstood type. Because the name sounds like a contradiction. Social introvert. If you are an introvert, how can you be social? Here is what the research actually says. Social introverts do not dislike people. They genuinely like them. They just like them in small, controlled doses. One-on-one conversations? They can go for hours. A dinner with 2 close friends? Fully present. Fully engaged. Fully alive. But a birthday party? With 30 people they barely know? Their mental battery starts draining within the first 20 minutes. Not because something is wrong with them, because their nervous system processes stimulation at a higher intensity than others. Neuroscientists call this high sensory processing sensitivity. More input requires more processing power. More processing power means faster depletion. So what is the social introvert actually hiding? Not a hatred of people, not shyness. They are hiding how much planning it takes, how carefully they ration their social energy across a week, how they decide strategically which invitations are worth the recovery time they will need afterward. They are also hiding something quieter than that, a desire to belong, but only on their own terms. Many social introverts want connection, deeply.
But the second type, this is the one most people misidentify. Because from the outside, they look completely fine. They look calm, composed, sometimes even confident. But something very different is happening behind that expression. Type 2, the thinking introvert. This one is defined not by avoiding people, but by living primarily inside their own head. They score extremely high on introspection, on imagination, on internal narrative. Neuroscientists point to overactivation of the default mode network, the brain's internal simulation engine, as the likely driver. In a social situation, they can appear quiet, distracted, slightly spaced out. Not because they are bored, because 50% of their attention is already somewhere else, running a hypothetical scenario, analyzing what someone said 20 minutes ago, building a mental model of how this situation is going to end. The thinking introvert gets lost in ideas, for hours. They enjoy solo creative and analytical work. Type 3. The anxious introvert. And this is the one most often confused with introversion itself. Anxious introverts want connection, genuinely. They want to be liked. They want to be understood. But social situations feel like running a real-time performance review on themselves. Before the event, they anticipate embarrassment. During the event, they monitor everything they say and how it lands. After the event, they replay it for hours, sometimes days. From the outside, this person looks like a social introvert. Quiet, withdrawn, careful with invitations. But the internal experience is completely different. The social introvert avoids parties because they are expensive. The anxious introvert avoids parties because they are dangerous. What is the anxious introvert hiding? A harsh internal critic that never stops. Most people will never hear the running commentary this person maintains about their own perceived mistakes. The moment they stumbled over a word, the joke that did not land, the silence that lasted 1 second too long. All of it archived, all of it revisited. They are also hiding emotional hypervigilance. In any social situation, their Salience Network, the brain's threat detection system, is running at a higher activation level than most. They are scanning for negative cues, tone shifts, micro-expressions, pauses that feel wrong. Not because they are paranoid, because their nervous system has learned to read rejection signals early as a defense against being caught off guard by them. This type is often mistaken for aloof, for cold, for not caring, when the reality is the opposite. The anxious introvert is usually the one caring too much, feeling everything at a louder volume, and hiding how nervous they feel, because vulnerability feels like a risk they cannot always afford to take. The last type. This is the one almost no one gets right on the first impression. And it might be the most misread person in any room. Type 4. The restrained, or inhibited introvert. This type is slow to start. And that simple fact gets misread constantly. They take time to warm up to people, to places, to new decisions. In a first meeting, they may appear emotionally flat, reserved, stiff, like they have decided they do not like you before you have even begun. They are not doing any of that. They are following a warm-up sequence that their nervous system requires before they feel safe enough to open up. Research is clear on this. Restrained introversion is not driven by fear or anxiety, unlike the anxious type. It is driven by a need for controlled pacing, a deep discomfort with being rushed into adaptation faster than feels safe. They dislike spontaneity, not because they are rigid, but because spontaneity removes the processing time their brain actually needs to show up well. They move deliberately, carefully, and they have stable routines that protect this pace. What are they hiding? Depth. An enormous amount of depth, personality, warmth, and humor that only appears after trust has been built. Most people never stay long enough to see it. First impressions lock in a version of them. Quiet, cold, boring, before they have had a chance to show who they actually are. And that, according to the research, is one of their core fears. Not that they will not be accepted, but that they will be judged and filed away as shallow before they had a chance to show any depth at all. What looks like coldness is a guarded warm-up sequence. Give it time. The person on the other side of that wait is almost always worth it.
Before you choose your type, here is something the research confirms that almost nobody talks about. Most people score across more than one domain. You can be anxious and restrained, thinking and social. The types are not locked boxes. They are patterns. And you likely have a primary pattern, the one that feels most true, with secondary patterns behind it. Drop your type in the comments right now. Social, thinking, anxious, or restrained. I want to see which one shows up the most. Here is a quick way to confirm yours. If your main issue is too many people too much of the time, you lean social introvert. If your main issue is too many thoughts and not enough time to process them, you lean thinking introvert. If your main issue is fear of how you will be perceived, you lean anxious introvert. If your main issue is being pushed or rushed before you feel ready, you lean restrained introvert. And knowing which pattern is primary is not just an interesting fact about yourself. It changes what you actually need. Social introverts need better boundaries around their energy. Thinking introverts need safe outlets, people and spaces where their ideas are not too much. Anxious introverts need self-compassion tools that quiet the internal critic. Restrained introverts need environments that respect warm-up time instead of penalizing. Different problem, different solution. Same word. Introvert.
Here is what every type has in common. None of them are hiding something wrong. They are protecting something real. Their energy, their inner world, their pace, their version of themselves. The question was never, what is wrong with me? The real question is, what exactly am I guarding? And is the way I am guarding it still serving me? Or is it protecting me from something that was never actually a threat? Carl Jung described introversion as a preference for focusing on the inner world over external pressure, and that instinct to give more weight to your own experience than to what the noise around you demands is not stubbornness. It is one of the rarest forms of self-respect. If this helped you name something you have always felt but never had words for, share it with someone who needs the words. The quiet ones, especially. Subscribe to How.96 for psychology content every week. We are building this for the people who think deeply. Like it, share it, and let the algorithm know this kind of content belongs here.